Hi guys, it's your latest news TV. Inec reviewing 2027 election timetable after court ruling sparks political debate. The Independent National Electoral Commission (Inec) has commenced a major review of its timetable and schedule of activities for the 2027 general election following a landmark Federal High Court judgment that nullified key sections of the electoral calendar. The development has triggered fresh political discussion across Nigeria, with parties, civil society groups, and legal analysts warning that the controversy could significantly shape preparation for the next general election. The review comes at a critical moment when political parties are already intensifying consultations, coalition talk, and internal realignment ahead of the 2027 presidential race. According to reports, the Federal High Court in Abuja ruled that several timelines introduced by Inec in its revised electoral calendar were inconsistent with provisions of the Electoral Act 2026. The court held that the Commission lacked the legal authority to shorten statutory periods already guaranteed by law. The case was reportedly filed by the Youth Party, which challenged Inec revised schedule, arguing that the Commission compressed critical electoral process such as party primaries, candidate substitution, withdrawal periods, and campaign timelines beyond what the Electoral Act permits. Justice M.G. Umar, who delivered the judgment, ruled that Inec cannot lawfully abridge timelines expressly provided by the Electoral Act. The court specifically faulted provisions affecting conduct of party primaries, submissions of candidate particulars, withdrawal and replacement of candidates, publication of final candidate list. The court emphasized that Section 29 of the Electoral Act requires political parties to submit candidate particulars not later than 120 days before elections, and that Inec cannot legally reduce that time frame through administrative directives. The ruling has now placed pressure on the Electoral Commission to redesign sections of the electoral calendar in line with statutory requirements. Reacting to the court decision, Inec officials confirmed that the Commission would carefully study the judgment before announcing its next line of action. According to Inec Director of Voter Education and Publicity, Victoria Itamesi, the Commission had not yet received the certified true copy of the judgment, but acknowledged that the ruling was already in the public domain. Political observers believe the Commission may either amend the dispute section of the timetable, appeal the judgment, issue a fresh revised calendar compliant with the Electoral Act. Analysts say whichever option Inec chooses could affect the pace of political preparation nationwide. Earlier in 2026, Inec released a revised election schedule which moved the presidential and national assembly election to January 16, 2027, while governorship and state assembly elections were fixed for February 6, 2027. The revised calendar represented one of the earliest elections scheduled in Nigerian democratic history and was introduced following amendments contained in the Electoral Act 2026. Presidential and National Assembly elections were fixed for January 16, 2027. Governorship and state assembly elections were slated for February 6, 2027. Political parties were expected to conclude primaries within compressed timelines. Candidate submission and replacement were accelerated. However, critics argue that the shortened deadlines could disadvantage smaller political parties. and increase internal party disputes. Several political actors have voiced concern over the practical implications of the revised timetable. Former presidential candidate Gbenga Olawepo Ashimi criticized the timetable as impractical and insensitive to Nigerian political realities, warning that compressed schedule could create confusion within practice and undermine internal democracy. Opposition parties have also expressed fears that shortened timelines may favor larger ruling parties with stronger structure, limit opportunities for consensus building, increase litigation arising from dispute primaries, reduce time for voter education and campaign engagement. Meanwhile, supporters of the early timetable argue that it could reduce post-election transition uncertainty and allow more time for handling electoral disputes before inauguration. Constitutional lawyers and election observers say the controversy highlights growing tension between administrative electoral planning and statutory legal requirements. A detailed electoral calendar analysis by the Policy and Legal Advocacy Center (PLAC) noted that the Electoral Act 2026 significantly altered nomination deadlines and election squeezing, creating operational challenges for Inec and political parties alike. Experts warn that unresolved disputes over timelines could lead to more pre-election court cases, delay in party primaries, confusion over candidate eligibility, administrative pressure on Inec. Some analysts also fear that constant timetable adjustment may create uncertainty among voters if public communication is not properly managed. The timetable controversy comes aimed increasing political maneuvering ahead of the 2027 election. Within the ruling All Progressive Congress (APC), consultation over President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's potential re-election campaign have intensified, while opposition figures are reportedly exploring coalition arrangements to challenge the ruling party. Political observers believe that any further changes to the election calendar could influence party primary schedule, coalition negotiation, campaign fundraising, candidate selection strategies. The debate has also revived broader discussion about electoral reforms, judicial intervention in election administration, and the balance of powers between Inec and the courts. Nigerians await final decision. For now, Nigeria are waiting for INEC's official response on whether the Commission will issue another revised timetable. Election stakeholders insist that transparency and legal compliance with essential in maintaining confidence in the electoral process as the court moves towards another high-stake general election. With less than a year before the commencement of major electoral activities, many believe the handling of the timetable review could become an early test of the credibility and preparedness of Nigeria's electoral system ahead of 2027. Thanks for listening. Don't forget to always stay updated by subscribing, liking, and sharing.